Hi, I'm Cliff, and this is my garage. Today, I'm going to show you how to lose $1,500 in just 3.4 seconds. Hey, welcome back to the garage. And if this is your first time joining me, thanks for dropping by. So, first, an administrative note, we just hit 4,000 subscribers. Thank you so much to everyone who has joined the channel. And if you haven't joined yet, go down there, find that big old red subscribe button, and become part of the team today. Doesn't cost a thing, doesn't hurt a bit, I promise. And while you're at it, go ahead and click on that like button. Give me a like on the video. Let YouTube know that you're enjoying the content that I'm producing here in the garage. This is, well, was my splitter from LN Engineering. Now, I looked for a splitter for the front end of the car for a long time. I wanted to increase the downforce and to help balance out the new wing that I was installing. And I just never really could find a wing that I really liked. Now, some seem to be highly functional, well-designed, just they were very ugly. And then there were a bunch that looked nice. They were very pretty, but they didn't seem to have any real engineering design behind them to make sure that they were actually effective. I finally came across or settled for this splitter from LN Engineering, which seemed to be well-designed, had some actual engineering knowledge behind it, and yet wasn't totally ugly. It was at least somewhat attractive. Now, that's not to say that there were no flaws, because there were some kind of big ones. One in particular was that the fitment was, I'd have to say, moderately poor. I had to put a lot of work into making this just fit onto the car. This side here had a really big dip in the edge that I had to take and even out, and it this back edge did not really fit correctly onto the car. There was a big gap in it, and just overall it was close, but it was really kind of meh. So it took me about 20 hours of work to get this thing adjusted and fitted and actually mounted. On top of everything else, there are 0 directions on how to install it beyond a few kind of vague, well, look at the picture and figure it out. Basically, LN Engineering seems to have the attitude that if you don't know how to install it, you have no business buying it. Whether that's right or wrong, I'm not going to get into. I found it kind of irksome, and especially because one of the few points that they gave me in terms of installation was to drill holes in these 2 tabs here to put in mounting bolts. And that would have been exactly wrong, because that would have drilled right into the feed lines for the fluid lines for the headlight washers. So that was just bad. Maybe they had never installed one on a car that had headlight washers on it. I don't know. But like I said, they gave me a few pieces of guidance through email, one of which was really completely wrong. A couple of other issues that came up during the installation was that when I did get it fitted and in place and properly fastened, the tires hit. I mean, the tires were hitting this back edge over here. So I don't know. I ended up having to cut that away. Maybe that wasn't the way to do it, because I also had to cut away large chunks of the fender well liners to make this fit. Maybe I was supposed to trim this to fit the fender well liners. I don't know, because after a certain point, LN Engineering simply stopped responding to my emails. So again, it seemed to be well-designed, seemed to be like they had some actual science behind their design. Just don't expect any help or guidance or instructions. You're on your own. Despite all that, after 20 hours, I finally had the splitter installed. It was like 2 days before my trip to Carolina Motorsports Park for a high-performance driver education, or a DE event, that was being put on by Just Track It. And I was concerned because there was only about 4 inches or so of clearance underneath the front splitter. And I began to have issues with it right away because I hit it. I ended up scraping it up a bit, just getting it onto my trailer. Again, not unexpected because it is supposedly designed for a track, not for the street. So again, be aware of that. This is not something you should be running on a street car. And that's in LN Engineering's own words. This is designed for the track. But I did get it onto the trailer, got it up to South Carolina, unloaded it, everything seemed fine. And everything continued to be fine for the first 2 or 3 sessions. There was no issues. It seemed to be working. I had not gotten around to doing any kind of actual performance measurement to see what kind of effect that the splitter was having on the car. I didn't have time for that before taking off for South Carolina. Anyhow, things went perfect until the 4th session of the day, where I made a critical error. Basically what happened is I screwed up turn 5. Now, the way this should happen is, as you can see here in this video that I captured from the day, you're going along the straight between turns 3 and 4 at a pretty good clip. And then when you reach the braking point, you hit the brakes really hard to drop your speed and come into a late apex on turn 4. And then when you reach turn 5, you hit the brake again pretty hard, not super hard, but a pretty good amount of brake to bleed your speed down and trail brake into a very late apex on turn 5, where you go back on the power and you track out to the outside edge near the rumble strips. So my error here was that I came into turn 4 at a pretty good clip, not too fast, but up towards the upper limit. But then after doing a bit of maintenance throttle, I did not hit the brakes hard enough to bleed off the speed. Hitting the brakes would have also caused weight transfer forward, getting the front tires to bite in better and turn and rotate the car better. But mainly I needed to bleed off the speed. And as I said, I came in here about 5 miles an hour too fast, which caused me to understeer badly and go out and go off the side of the track. What contributed to the issue also was the fact that on the Carolina Motorsports track, they have rumble strips on the outside, and these are not ordinary rumble strips like I've encountered before. These things are like logs out there. They're huge, and they just basically cause you to have a dramatic loss of traction if you get onto them. So that caused me to immediately go shooting off the side of the curve. And also contributing to the problem is the fact that the dirt on the side of the track at that spot is very soft. It's not well compacted. Again, like the other tracks I've been around. On the other tracks, the dirt on the outside edges or the edges of the track is very, very well compacted. I've gone off on them with no drama. But here, the side wheels dug in, causing the car to tip just a bit, mainly to dig in, and that caused the front edge or the front corner of the splitter to dig in and just get ripped right off the car. So a combination of my own mistake, and mainly my own mistake, but also the, I hate to say poor design of Carolina Motorsports Park, but the unfortunate design elements I ran into in that corner of CMP resulted in basically the destruction of the splitter. I mean, I suppose theoretically this could be repaired. It's certainly beyond my skill level. I can't, and I'm hesitant to buy another one because, like I said, I wasn't overly thrilled with it, and I don't want to go through all that rigmarole of trying to fit another one, spending another 20 hours or who knows how much trying to fix all the production issues that it's got. I decided I'm going to go with a different splitter, and I think I've decided on one as far less aggressive and dramatic, but will hopefully give me a good increase in downforce, which I'm going to combine with some dive planes that I'm going to pick up later on. Beyond just the destruction of the $1,300 splitter, and that's $1,300 that it cost me with both the cost of the splitter and the shipping, which was kind of substantial for such a large piece. Anyhow, $1,300 for the splitter. I also, when I was looking at, or when I was trying to reinstall the original splitters, I found that something was off. The fender liners were not quite fitting right, and I ended up pulling off the bumper trying to figure out what was going on. And after a lot of investigation, I found that the mount that's holding the front radiator assembly had gotten bent and was out of alignment. So that was easy to kind of bang back into shape with a sledgehammer, and then everything kind of fit right. But I will have to also replace one of the underbody trays that the splitter was attached to it on this back point, and it ripped a large chunk of that off. So that's about $150. So by the time there are some other miscellaneous parts that have gotten damaged, need to be replaced. I'm looking at about $1,500 between the loss of the splitter and then the repairs that got to be done. Another way to look at it is, okay, let's just toss the cost of the splitter. We're not going to worry about that. And just the repairs alone was a couple $100. And then I'm going to be purchasing a different splitter, which is only around $500 or so. And that'll be coming up very soon. It should be shipped tomorrow, and I hope to have it on by next week. Okay, guys, that's it for today. Just a quick video to let you know how I screwed up, cost myself $1,500. Now, as I said before, please go down there, smash that like button, feed that YouTube algorithm, let them know that you're enjoying the stuff I'm doing. And if you're not one of my now 4,000 subscribers, please go down there, find that big old red subscribe button and give it a click. And finally, if you want to be kept up to date with all the stuff I'm doing in the garage, including all the updates to Project 987.2, I'm in the process of adding a lot of stuff to the Cayman. I just dropped about $5,000 to improve the safety in order to help my wife feel better about the high speeds that I'm traveling in lately. Please go down there and click on that bell icon. That turns on notifications for this channel, and that way YouTube will let you know every time that I post something new from here in Cliff's Garage. I'll see you next time.